If there are two things that TLC reality show My Big Fat Gypsy Wedding is known for, it's drama and extravagant weddings. There are some foods that are so difficult to make at home that they're almost always better to order from a restaurant. Think sushi or a really incredible bowl of ramen. But luckily, pasta is not one of those foods. Pasta is one of the easiest things you can cook. Even if you think you don't have any cooking skills at all. You can add basically anything to it and make it taste amazing, which is just one reason why we love it so much, and why you probably have plenty of it stocked in your pantry right now. Whether you're more of a traditionalist when it comes to your pasta or you prefer something that has fewer carbs and is slightly healthier than a conventional pasta, there's no denying that there are plenty of options for you out there. But where should you start? We're here to help you decide which pasta brands are worth your time and which you should skip. While this list doesn't include every single brand of pasta on the market, it does cover some of the most popular brands. So what are you waiting for? Check out our ranking of popular pasta brands from worst to first. Then try them out for yourself so you can make up your own mind. Banza. Let's start with one of the healthier pasta brands on the market. Banza is known for its pasta products that are made not with wheat, but with chickpeas. This means that they're gluten-free, which many consumers find appealing. And if you can't eat gluten, then this may be a viable choice. Attracting millions of viewers with the promise of offering a glimpse into the hidden world of gypsies, the show quickly gained popularity and even resulted in a spin-off, My Big Fat American Gypsy Wedding, which aired an impressive 5th season in summer 2016. However, even diehard fans of both series will be surprised to learn just how many secrets the show has been keeping from them. Otherwise, you're going to want to stay far, far away. First of all, there's the texture. This pasta doesn't have the texture of any classic pasta you've ever tried. As a male Roma using the pseudonym Pipopotamus declared in an open letter to My Big Fat Gypsy Wedding's producers, your documentary is unfortunately a work of fiction. Here are the 10 truths show creators have been trying to hide. It used to be a British TV show first premiering in the United Kingdom and Ireland on February 18, 2010 under the title Big Fat Gypsy Weddings. The show enjoyed 2 seasons on Channel 4 and became the 8th highest rating program ever on the station, with 6.4 million curious viewers tuning into its first episode, and a whopping 7.5 million coming back the following week. It's somehow too soft but still has too much of a bite at the same time. Doesn't exactly sound great, right? When you add in the unappealing taste on top of that, it's clear why this is our least favorite pasta brand of the bunch. On April 13, 2011, TLC revealed that it was working on adapting the show for a 7-part series and, in 2012, announced that it would use original footage from its British counterpart, but replace the original narrator with Ellen Kay, co-host of On Air with Ryan Seacrest. The show omits major cultural details. One of the biggest criticisms the show has received to date is that it groups travelers and Roma together, despite there being very prominent differences between the two cultures. Instead of getting a neutral flavor like you would expect from most pasta brands, you're going to get a flavor that ultimately tastes like beans. Travelers are ethnic Irish, while the Roma came from Eastern Europe, and originally, historians think, India, explains Sayward Darby, online editor for The New Republic, in an article titled Big Fat Disgrace. He continued, viewers are instead offered an overly simplistic view of the cultures of travelers and Roma with scarcely any historical or political context about their place in the United Kingdom and Europe. What's more, there is no explanation of why tradition dictated for centuries that they live nomadic lifestyles. European Roma Pip seconded this sentiment in an open letter to show producers, writing, just 10% of the gypsy and traveler population are actually Irish travelers. The majority, like myself, are in fact Romani, yet your documentary seems to ignore our existence. While Irish travelers originate from Ireland, we can trace our roots back to India, so it was hardly surprising that I was somewhat confused when you use the word gypsy in the title of your documentary about Irish travelers. Not all wedding dresses are that extravagant. I've been to many gypsy and traveler weddings, but I'm yet to attend a wedding where the bride's dress weighs more than my whole family, reveals Roma Pip.
It is a shame that you haven't featured any gypsy or traveler designers because the clothing that we were actually more traditionally known for before your documentary is actually far more interesting than amusing. Speaking with The Guardian, Helen, a traveler in her 20s, revealed, I don't know anyone so rich that they can afford to splash out on wedding dresses like that. Not exactly what you're looking for in your carbonara or your shrimp scampi. Our advice? If you're not gluten-free, don't even consider this brand when there are so many other options out there. Mine was secondhand. Kids aren't forced to leave school at a young age after watching the show. Many believe that girls are encouraged to leave school at a young age in order to get married and start families. Sure, it may be slightly healthier than other pastas, but is it worth sacrificing your happiness? Dreamfields. Next up is Dreamfields, which you might have seen at your local grocery store. It is one of the more popular brands on the market, but you may be wondering why it costs more than other pasta brands out there. That's because it's supposedly healthier than other brands. Although Roma Pip concedes that the show correctly identified that many gypsy and traveler children leave school at a young age, he quickly went on to point out that, this is not because we are all born to terrible parents, but because our communities suffer from great social exclusion. Both teachers and students seem ignorant of our cultures, thus we are labeled as troublemakers and bullied for being different. What's more, you seem to have forgotten to feature those of us that do stay in education. Take myself, for example. I'm currently at college studying a range of subjects such as history and sociology. Once upon a time, it billed itself as a low-carb pasta, but unfortunately, it ran into some legal trouble when it couldn't back up its health claims, per Verywell Health. The company was sued by customers who thought they could eat the pasta despite health issues because the company claimed the product was effective in modulating blood sugar levels. That's a dangerous claim to make when some people are making health decisions based on what a company tells them. When you add in the fact that the flavor of this pasta just isn't that good anyway, it's clear to see why it ranks so low on our list. My sister trained to be a hairdresser, my auntie went to university and is now a social worker, and some of my cousins completed apprenticeships. Thus clearly dropping out of education is not a prerequisite of living in a trailer. Traveler Jill Smith agreed, telling News of the World that the program made out that all gypsy girls are forced to leave school at 9 so they can stay at home cleaning until they marry. Yes, we're expected to cook and clean, but we do have our own lives too. You're best off skipping this brand and trying something else. Ronzoni. One of the grocery store classics, Ronzoni is available almost everywhere. Most girls have the opportunity to go to school, many of them have jobs. It doesn't actually offer access to a secret community, although the show often claims to be giving audiences exclusive access to a secretive community. The New Republic points out that when the narrator teases the secrecy behind a traveler communion is revealed for the first time, there isn't much that's secretive. There's a good chance you've seen it, and to be fair, if you just need a basic pasta, it's going to get the job done. It's more or less a young girl in a too big, too ornate dress, followed by a large family party. Or, another important gypsy marriage custom is the cake cutting, one which, last I checked, goes for most modern weddings as well. The outrageous grabbing ritual isn't real on more than one occasion. The show has given airtime to a so-called grabbing ritual, which gives young men permission to grab a woman who catches their eye and use force to receive a kiss. But if you have any other options, we'd suggest that you try something else. Ronzoni's pasta is, for the most part, pretty bland. As it turns out, most in the community have never heard of this ritual. While the company may offer a wide variety of shapes for you to choose from, they're pretty much all created equal, with a texture that leaves a lot to be desired. As Roma Pip wrote sarcastically in his open letter to Channel 4, "I would have been married by now, if only I had known that the key to a woman's heart was to sexually assault her using a gypsy courting ritual called grabbing. And it somehow doesn't pair very well with sauce." That's even more true when you consider the healthier Ronzoni products, like Healthy Harvest, Smart Taste, and its gluten-free line. We will say, however, that the Ronzoni Garden Delight pasta line is pretty decent.
Sure, it still has that strange texture, but the flavor of this veggie-filled pasta can add a nice touch to a dish if you're in a pinch. I asked my brother if he had grabbed his wife, but it turned out he had just asked her out on a date instead, he quipped. It appears that in reality, no one actually knows what grabbing is. In an interview with The Guardian, Mary, a 15-year-old Irish traveler, revealed, "Grabbing has never happened to me or any of my friends, and the first time I ever saw it was on the telly. While we don't love Ronzoni as a whole, it won't let you down too badly if that's all that's available." Cremet is another one of those pasta brands that's as basic as can be. I wouldn't put up with it, and I don't know why they made out we all do it. It's just one nasty boy they showed. Brigid, another Irish traveler interviewed by the paper, seconded the sentiment, saying, "Grabbing has never happened to my kids. You might find this one at your grocery store right next to the Ronzoni, and overall, we think they taste pretty similar. I have honestly never heard of it. The texture of Cremet isn't great, but that doesn't mean you should avoid it completely." It's all make-believe. All that glitz and glam isn't really there. The families on the show appear to be very wealthy and boast plenty of disposable income to spend on lavish parties and over-the-top weddings. However, as the New Republic reports, reality is quite different. Today, Roma tend to live in dire poverty, often in shantytowns outside major cities in Central and Eastern Europe. As Julie Bindel reveals in her article for The Guardian titled The Big Fat Truth About Gypsy Life, the living conditions of Irish travelers leave much to be desired. That's because, as the name suggests, it is a bit creamier than Ronzoni's pasta. If you have other options available to you, you'll probably want to go with those instead of Cremet. Bindel reported that many trailers are not connected to water pipes, and the toilets, bathrooms and cooking facilities are in a small, unheated shed across the yard. According to the Journal of Comparative Economic Studies, unemployment rate is 100% in some rural areas and the Roma's dependence on government benefits is widespread, and at least part of the problem arises from discrimination in employment. Why? Well, as The Economist found, West Europeans tend to believe that Roma migrants are responsible for an epidemic of pickpocketing, shoplifting, mugging, and worse. Many Roma find the show offensive. The majority of Romani people have never been to Rathkel, let alone own houses there, unleashes Pip, a male Roma, in an open letter to the show. But if you're on a budget and want to pick up some pasta to just stock in your cupboard whenever you need to make a meal in a punch, then Cremet certainly is a viable option for you. Our tip? Just combine this pasta with plenty of sauce. We suffer from discrimination on a daily basis and our human rights have historically been violated, yet you deem it acceptable to broadcast a misleading documentary that has been made, not to raise awareness of our plight, but for entertainment. We are not a joke, we are human beings and your work of fiction is only strengthening stereotypes and ignorance. Helen, a female traveler in her 20s, felt the exact same way, telling The Guardian, "The way us women come across in the program is a disgrace. It shows us as nothing but slaves to the men, only good for cooking and cleaning, and always being available to open our legs to them. We don't want that for our daughters." For women, it's often far from happily ever after. The Guardian revealed that many gypsy and traveller women in the UK suffer from domestic violence. A study in Wrexham, cited in a paper by the Equality and Human Rights Commission, found that 61% of married English gypsy women and 81% of Irish travellers had experienced domestic abuse. What's more, the welfare needs of this community are vast. The women are 3 times more likely to miscarry or have a stillborn child compared to the rest of the population, mainly, it is thought, as a result of reluctance to undergo routine gynecological care, and infections linked to poor sanitation and lack of clean water. The show has had a negative effect on traveller and Roma communities. Speaking candidly with The Guardian, Irish traveller and mom of 6 Kathleen revealed, "Every week I go to the school and the parents are talking about that program. The creaminess of the pasta itself will complement whatever kind of pasta sauce you choose, which can only take this pasta to the next level."
San Giorgio. Okay. San Giorgio might not be that far ahead of the competition when it comes to taste. This is a pretty standard pasta, and while it will get the job done, it's not necessarily anything special. But it does rank higher than some other standard brands on this list, and you might be wondering why. First of all, while the texture of this pasta isn't ideal, it does tend to have more bite to it than many of the other brands out there. They won't let our kids mix with theirs because they say we stink and don't talk properly. So if you love eating your pasta al dente, you will probably enjoy this stuff more than the brands above on this list. But more importantly, this pasta brand is one to explore because you can find so many different shapes to suit your pasta preferences. Settled kids won't even play sports with ours in case they touch them. As New Republic reported back in May 2011, a quick Twitter search found that viewers called the show crazy and a trainwreck, and referred to the women on it as whores and hookers. Even more shocking, one viewer took to Twitter Sunday night to write, "Tragically, I now understand why all of Europe hates gypsies." For instance, if you're making stuffed pasta, the jumbo shells may just become your new best friend. But don't stop there. You can stick with store-bought or homemade classic pasta sauces when you buy bow-tie pasta or penne, or do something different with the ditalini and the orzo. It all just depends on your creativity. Great value. You've probably noticed a theme here. A lot of these pasta brands taste pretty similar. That's not really surprising, considering that pasta is such a basic food. How different can the brands really be? In the case of Great Value, there are a few reasons why it comes out ahead. First of all, Great Value pasta is available in so many different locations. If there is a Walmart anywhere close to you, you'll find this popular pasta brand there. That makes it super convenient and easy to access for lots of different people. And who doesn't love an accessible brand? But even better than that is the fact that this pasta just doesn't cost much. And if you're watching your wallet, that's just what you're going for. You won't have to sacrifice taste just because you're saving money, though. The brand says it all, says Brittany C. on Influencer. It's a great value. I purchased the whole wheat variety and this product can stand next to pricier comparisons. My family loves chicken spaghetti made with this pasta. The taste and texture are perfect. If you want to save money and get a quality product, then Great Value is a solid brand. Mueller's on the hunt for a solid grocery store brand of pasta? The next time you go shopping, see if you can find some pasta from Mueller's. This is another typical brand that you'll see at plenty of grocery stores, and it's one that you should consider buying. While it's not exactly a standout brand, we have to admit that this pasta largely delivers in both taste and texture. Whether you plan on making a pasta salad and serving this pasta cold or if you'd prefer to stick with something more classic like spaghetti and meatballs, this brand is going to deliver just what you need. The pasta is versatile and goes with a wide array of sauces and flavors, which encourages you to get creative. This pasta brand offers products that are basically a blank canvas for you to play around with. And when you consider that pasta is an ingredient that almost acts as a carrier for other, more flavorful ingredients, it's clear that Mueller's is a smart choice. 365 everyday value heading to Whole Foods anytime soon? While you're there, you may want to pick up some 365 everyday value pasta. As the brand name of Whole Foods, you know you're going to be getting a good quality pasta when you opt for 365 everyday value. Even though you may pay more than other store brands out there, you know you're getting a great price with this purchase from Whole Foods. One customer review on Amazon says it all. We seek value without sacrificing flavor. 365 pasta meets those criteria. Plus it can serve as a base for salads as well as a main course. Clearly 365 pasta stands alongside more pricey options as a superior quality product that delivers exactly what picky eaters want from their cooking experience. Great quality without having to pay a high price? Sounds like a plan to us. If you're ever at a Whole Foods and need to pick up some pasta, don't feel like you have to opt for one of the more expensive brands. Trader Joe's. Who doesn't love a good trip to Trader Joe's? You can check out the cheese section, pick yourself out some flowers, and browse through all the new products that have just come out for the season. But while you're having all that fun, you can definitely pick up the staples you need for your pantry at the same time. That's certainly true when you grab a bag of Trader Joe's pasta. The thing is, when you choose to get your pasta from Trader Joe's, you're going to have a lot of options. You'll have plenty of normal pasta shapes, but you can choose from other varieties too. There's the brown rice fusilli that goes with a wide variety of sauces, and the black bean rotini that's shockingly filling. Try the organic red lentil sedanini or the vegetable ratatouille. And don't forget about the quick-cooking brown rice and quinoa pasta. With all of these different options, there's a type of pasta at Trader Joe's for everyone, whether you're making the most traditional Italian dish or you're looking for something totally novel, and totally gluten-free. That variety earns it a spot pretty high up on this list. De Cecco may be one of the more common pasta brands out there, but that doesn't mean that it's not one of the best. There's an excellent chance that you'll find this brand on the dry foods aisle of your local grocery store, and if you see it there, you should definitely pick some up. That's because this is one of our favorite popular pasta brands on the market. When you cook it perfectly, it has an ideal al dente bite to it that makes every individual noodle taste amazing. One other thing that's great about this brand is the fact that you get to choose from a wide variety of shapes. Stick with the relatively common rigatoni or farfalle, or try something a little bit different when you opt for the orecchiette or the gemelli. And there are even a variety of small pasta shapes, like elbows and tubetti. Basically, no matter what shape you're looking for, this brand is likely to carry it. Barilla. If there's one pasta brand you're familiar with, it's probably Barilla. You see this brand almost everywhere. Jamie Oliver loves it, and the iconic blue box will surely catch your eye whenever you're walking down the pasta aisle. When you see this stuff, you need to stop and stock up. That's because it truly is one of the best brands out there, and it's our favorite that's widely available at pretty much every store. When you choose Barilla, you know you're getting quality. The taste is great, and the pasta never turns mushy or gets an odd texture to it. It's always dependable, despite the fact that it's not a super expensive option. This brand also has you covered when it comes to variety. The next time you decide to make a stuffed pasta, the shells are there waiting for you. And all of your lasagna is going to turn out amazing when you use Barilla's lasagna sheets. You've likely already had Barilla pasta before, but if you haven't, it's time to give it a try. Delalo, are you looking for a premium quality pasta from a brand that you know is going to deliver every time? Do you want the packaging to fit in with your Instagram aesthetic when you post what you're making for dinner? If you answered yes to both of these questions, then you should check out Delayo's pasta. This brand may not be quite as common as others at some grocery stores, but if you can seek this stuff out, you totally should buy it. First of all, you know you're going to get amazing quality with this pasta brand. Sure, you may have to pay a little bit more, but in the end, you'll see that it really is worth it if you have a bit of extra cash to spend. You're also going to love the fun shapes, including shellbows, long fusilli, and radiatori. Basically, any bag of pasta from this brand is going to take your simple pasta dish to the next level. Pastificio di Martino. If you want to feel like you're in Italy every time you take a bite of pasta, then you have to pick up Pastificio di Martino pasta the next time you see it. Granted, you may not find it at your local grocery store. But this stuff is so popular that some consumers seek it out anyway. You'll know this stuff is the real deal when you visit the brand's website, which first appears in Italian. When you finally get your gili, lumache, or linguine and cook it up, you'll see why we ranked this pasta so high. It has a texture that will remind you of fresh pasta, even though this stuff comes in a bag. It's easy to prepare perfectly every time, and you can even pick up pasta sauce from this brand to finish your meal off. We don't love that this stuff is so pricey, but we're willing to pay a little extra from time to time to experience pasta this good. Sfolini. Now, we love so many of these different pasta brands, so it's hard to choose a winner. But once you see what Sfolini has to offer, you'll agree that it's totally earned the top spot. First of all, you're going to get top quality pasta. This stuff always has the ideal texture, and every bite tastes like a little piece of heaven. But what really makes this brand stand apart from the rest is the fact that it offers so many pasta shapes that you can't find anywhere else.
They got super creative and now offer pasta shapes like cascatelli, invented by Dan Pashman of the Sporkful podcast after a deep dive into the ultimate pasta shape, zucca, and whole grain trumpets. These unfamiliar shapes will bring a whole new experience to every pasta dish, and you're going to enjoy every single bite. This stuff is on the expensive side, so you may not want to get it all the time. However, if you get the chance to pick some up, you definitely shouldn't hesitate. You're not going to be disappointed.